So I can't chase you for the next 2 weeks to see if you're going to do it. Although let's go there hypothetically. I'm going to follow every one of you around for the next 3 weeks. I'll guarantee I can make you more successful. Many of you are sitting there thinking, I do not ever want to see you again for the rest of my life. Go away. That being the case, then you get to write them down. There are 10 things you can do every day that will help you to get even better than you already are. You may have gathered already in this presentation. I am the non-technical part of this conference. But the key is to work on you instead of trying to change other people, which I already pointed out to you as an exercise in futility. How many of you are married? How many of you have tried to change your spouse in the last month? Successfully? Then stop trying, because we'll check with him if you say yes, you were successful. I did not say change spouses. I said change your spouse. There's a difference. Okay.
What difference does that make? Nothing. Your competition is selling the same economic condition you're selling in. You're selling the same. They don't have any advantage. They don't have any advantage over you. It's the same for everybody. I don't care whether it's good or bad. And interestingly enough, sometimes when things are going bad, some people do exceptionally well. Did you know that? Because they persist. They don't give up, and they don't buy into all the stuff that's in the media. Oh, have you seen what's happening now? It's going downhill. We're all going to die. Better get on that bandwagon now while we can. Some people say, woohoo, all the losers are dropping out. Look at the opportunities for me. So I don't care what the economic conditions are. Things change. That means you have to what? Change and adjust to that, but you can still keep on going. It might be different. Remember the 4 ways we get money? Make more money? Raise your price. I'm not saying that's the good one in the economic conditions. You can get more customers. You can still do that. You've got to keep filling the funnel. But those last two are important. Sell more to your current customers or sell to them more often. That handles the economic conditions. Okay, you don't have to worry as much about that. But it's so easy to get caught up in the negativity, is it not? I mean, it's like some people just like glom onto this stuff. We've talked about this before. For those of you that have been here before, for those of you that haven't, you haven't heard this, but are negative people infectious? Yeah, they just drag you down to their level. Are positive people as infectious? No, people just think they're weird. You're going to die too, so wipe off your happy face, okay? But you know what? It's attitude underlies everything, I think. That's why I talked this morning about whether or not you really like your job. Because I can tell whether you do. So can your customers. My customers can tell whether I like it. How many of you ever walked into a retail place of business and you knew you were an intrusion in their day? Oh, gee, look, here comes more people trying to give us money. How annoying is that? And that's the way they treat you. And so it's amazing. You can go into some places, even in some chains I find it interesting. You can go into one store and they're great, and you go into the same chain in another location and they're awful. I think that's a management situational reality. What I mean by that is the management sets the tone for that particular store. And if the staff is being treated well, I think they tend to treat customers better as well too. Change happens all the time. And I've discovered that people only change for 1 of 3 reasons. I'm going to ask you to write them down. Now, I've been watching some of you today. Some of you are writing down what some of the speakers are saying. That's a good idea. So I'm going to ask you to write these things down. You should write things down during a day like this for a couple of reasons. The first reason is you'll remember it longer if you write it down. Lots of good information already, and there's going to be more coming after me. The second reason I want you to write it down is because it fools the speakers up front here into thinking you're really going to do something different. So do it for us, all right? So here's 3 reasons people will change. The number 1 reason people change is because they just get bored. They've had enough of what they've been doing already. Some of you in this room have had jobs other than the one you've had now. Isn't that true? Did any of you ever leave a job because you were bored? I've had many jobs in my lifetime. Many times I left because I was just bored. Now, I had one job where they helped me leave. That was different. I had a boss who told me he was opening up my career path. Some of you might want to write that one down and use that later, okay? This puts you in a position known as what? You are never unemployed. You're in between opportunities. But if anybody ever says to you, we are opening up your career path and it's a great opportunity, this is not good news. I'm amazed anybody could say they were bored right now. I was listening yesterday just on the radio. I was driving over to the hotel from the airport, and it said that most of us are now exposed to approximately 4,000 messages per day, advertising messages. Well, if you're on a Disney property, you're exposed to more than that. But 4,000 a day. You might be overwhelmed, but you can't be bored. And some people say, oh, it's so boring. If it's boring, then you're also boring. And children say they're bored. How is that possible? How many of you are parents? Okay. Who has children under the age of 5? Where are you? All right. Anybody with more than 3 under 5, which is stupid, where are you? Let's just check that out. That's a good idea. And have you ever had an aha? Who's ever had an uh-oh?
But even if I or any of the other speakers today give you an aha, I'm sure you're picking up some of you are still going to wait for who to change. Who are you waiting for? Somebody. Somebody should do something. Somebody should do. Why doesn't somebody do something? Somebody should do something. How many of you are managers or supervisors? Why don't you do something? The company should do something. Why doesn't the company do something? Or even better, the government should do something. As far as I'm concerned, government's already done way too much for me and to me already. I just assume they back off, okay? Why don't you do something? Well, then I'd have to take what? Responsibility. I got so good at complaining, I don't want to stop.
People buy things based on how they think they'll feel after they've got it. That's why they buy it. They buy it based on how they think they'll feel after they have it. If you want a car, just a car, because a car gets you from A to B and that's all you want, then any car that runs will do, right? So why do some people buy a Toyota Yaris and other people buy a Mercedes? Well, because people that buy the Mercedes think they'll feel better when they've got it. And if they get hit by a truck, they will.
Any of you ever work with a complainer? Oh, look at that. Look what they're doing now. That's no good. That'll never work. What's the point of that? That's stupid. It was never like this when Mary was here. Nobody ever tells you they came and took Mary away one day because she was nuts. They don't tell you that part, okay?
Kit Grant is consistently rated as the top speaker at conventions and conferences. His messages of taking personal responsibility and getting the results you deserve will propel your people to higher levels of accomplishment. Kit has delivered fast-paced fun programs to hundreds of thousands of people in 14 countries on 4 continents, providing them with the tools to take immediate action. Known by clients as the Director of Comfort Zone Infiltration, he is a positive catalyst for long-term personal and professional growth. Kit's Laugh and Learn approach educates and inspires his audiences to expand their comfort zones and improve performance. He always makes you, the professional meeting planner, look great. To book Kit to speak at your next meeting, convention, or conference, please contact the organization whose name appears on this DVD. A word of warning, laughter is permitted, even encouraged, during Kit's presentation.
I think one of the strongest fears that most people have is the fear of success. It's not the fear of failure. Because if I get really successful, 2 things happen. First of all, how do I get any better than that? Means I got to keep on going, which is okay. And the second one is, sometimes my friends won't like me anymore. How many of you ever moved in that stratus of people where you now move up to a different level from their perception and now they don't want to interact with you anymore? You ever had that? Because if you haven't, then you're not moving fast enough. Really. You've got to be willing to go when they don't go, and that can change. So some people, I've seen people refuse promotions in large companies so they can stay with their friends who then subsequently get what? Promoted. It's very funny, okay? So a fear of success is even stronger than a fear of failure. Don't be afraid of success. First of all, so few people are that you'll be in the minority anyway.
Now, within the input side, that's the only place you have any control. And there's a number of things that you have control over. The first one is your personality. How many of you are nice people to know? I will ask again. How many of you are nice people to know? All right. Now, if you are sitting next to somebody who did not put up their hand either time, this afternoon's break, I would move. There's lots of seats up here in the front, okay? I mean, just get away from that person.